What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 4th and 5. I'm Josh Throne, and today we've got a good episode lined up for you. We're going to be diving in to a topic that's been on everybody's mind. Taylen Green, Malachi Singleton. You guys have been in the comments. Now, I've got my own opinion on this, but we're just answering this question because you guys are asking the question. So we want to be able to break down some film and dive a little bit deeper into this whole, who should be starting and that kind of thing. Now, Taylen Green's hurt, obviously, and I think as of right now, he's still hurt. So we don't know if he's going to be ready or playing next week. Coach Sam Pittman did mention something about him potentially not playing if the game was this week, but it's a bye week. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But look, both of these guys are talented, and each of them bring their own unique skill sets to the table. So today we're going to be breaking down their play styles, their strengths, and where each of them might even have some room to grow. But look, that's not all, because a little bit later in the show, we're going to be catching up with DJ. He's actually sitting down with Zach from Oaklawn to talk about the latest betting odds for the college football playoff picks and who might even be the favorite for the SEC championship. So if you're looking for some insights, some tips to make sure you don't lose your money, where the place to go, where to get your information about your bets, that's Oaklawn. So you won't want to miss this one because Zach's drummed up a lot of good insights for us. So before we jump in, we just want to give a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ortho Arkansas. They're based out of Little Rock, one of the best orthopedic hospitals in the country, if you're asking me, because I went there in high school. DJ went there in high school. If you've got a neck injury, a back injury, a shoulder injury, any joint, any orthopedic need, they can answer all your questions, and they can provide all the support that you will need. Guys, go check out Ortho Arkansas. Google it, orthoarkansas.com. Absolutely some of the best doctors and best physicians over there. And a special thank you, too, to Oaklawn for sponsoring today's segment with DJ and Zach. So, all right, let's get into it. Who should be QB number one? That's what everybody's asking, although I don't think it's very much a question. But you know what? Taylen Green, let's just talk about Taylen Green. Taylen Green is what I call a high-ceiling playmaker. His ability to make plays, especially on the ground, is absolutely undeniable. Taylen has these moments where he showcases star potential with his arm even, and there's a flash of excellence that you're like, man, this makes you feel like you're watching the real deal. And then you got his running ability. That's what truly stands out. He's fast, he's agile, he can make defenders miss in a way that most quarterbacks simply can't. And when you have that in college, it's an X factor. However, consistency has been Taylen's main challenge. We've seen him struggle with decision-making at times, especially when he's forced to read through his progressions. He has a tendency to lock into his first read, and when that's not open, he just takes off on his feet. Sometimes he even forces some risky throws. Those plays don't always go our way, but when they do, you can't help but nod your head, at his playmaking ability when he pulls stuff off. And then you got Malachi Singleton, who we haven't got to see a lot of, but he's the backup who led us to victory against Tennessee. He's also the backup who stepped in during a tough loss at Ole Miss and drove down the field multiple times to score. And he had a good showing against UAPB to start out the season. We don't have a lot of film on Malachi yet, but of what we do, there's plenty of stuff that we like. So one thing stands out to me is he's comfortable in the pocket. He's got a quick release too, and he appears calm, and he shows a level of poise that you typically don't see from a backup quarterback. I thought we brought in Taylen Green because we didn't have anybody, but he has stepped on the field and showed us like, man, look, this is a situation where I'm going, if our backup quarterback has to play, I'm not as concerned as I used to be. I think we have our future starting quarterback in Malachi Singleton. And again, very impressive to see him step into the game as a backup and show that kind of poise. So let's talk about Malachi. He does have a solid dual threat ability. He may not be as explosive as Taylen, but he was one of the top dual threat quarterbacks coming out of high school. So we know he can run. He's already shown us that. But he's also not afraid to stay in the pocket, assess his options, and make the right play. And even when he does take off, he's shown that he can pick up yards effectively, even if he doesn't have the same big play flair that, on the ground that Taylen does. Malachi's focus seems to be balanced, which is kind of refreshing, honestly, staying in the pocket and playing that Petrino-type offense. So, look, enough of my opinion, enough of what I have to say. You came here for the breakdown, so let's go ahead and get to the film. Take a look. All right, let's dive into the first play here. Malachi Singleton is in because Taylen Green is out. And yeah, it looks pretty ugly, 56-17, third quarter, 3 minutes left, 3rd and 11. Now, I want to make a quick note here that Lane Kiffin has not pulled the starters out. So he is playing the starting defense for the Ole Miss Rebels, which is important because this is good film for us to assess where he's at skill level mentally as a quarterback. First thing Malachi is looking at here is these 2 high safeties. Looks like they're in a man with 2 high safeties. And what do we always say? If you've got the 2 high safeties, where's the vulnerable spot going to be on the defense? The middle of the field, because those safeties are going to have to bail and protect deep, and you're going to get a great route here by Luke. He comes off untouched, gets around that linebacker untouched. He's going to plant at the sticks. Now, it's important to know this, that both of these guys are young. Malachi's young, Luke's young, but both of them have great situational awareness here to cut this route at the sticks while you still have that separation and you don't run this into the safety who's over the top of the field. But Malachi, if you look here, he's already letting that ball go by the time that Luke is coming out of the break. So these guys have got good chemistry, and it's a beautiful ball put just out of the reach of the Ole Miss defender. Look, you may be saying, Josh, this isn't that big of a pass, but I'm telling you right now, 3rd and 11 playing in the SEC, this matters. You know, to be able to not only have the situational awareness here, but be in chemistry with your tight end like that. This is some young talent out of both those guys playing with the big boys and coming up for an awesome first down. So love to see that out of him. Love to know that he's capable of just being calm and cool and collected in the pocket in those 3rd down situations, because that's where the money's made. That's where you got to continue to move the chains because you don't want to come off the field. All right, let's take a look at another play here. Here we are again, 3rd quarter, 2nd and 8. Now, this is an incomplete pass, but I still want to take some positivity out of this play. A lot of you guys probably saw this happen, and I think we all noticed it when it did happen. But at the snap here, the offensive line just doesn't do a good job at protecting him at all. For a backup quarterback to come in and receive this kind of pressure in this type of situations, you know, you just expect them to crumble here. But what he does is he's able to step up in the pocket, if you want to call that a pocket, and make the defender miss. A lot of times you get these Taylen Green rollouts here where Taylen will just bail out as soon as he sees this pressure and start to roll out, and he has the feet to do that. But he also gets himself into situations where you're going to get hit in the open field and risk injury. I personally like to see my quarterbacks step up in the pocket, avoid contact, and live to throw the ball here, right? And so he's able to step up in the pocket and escape, and he's looking upfield the whole time. He's not a tuck and run guy. He still wants to make this pass. Yes, it's incomplete, but I love everything about what he did leading up to that incomplete pass. Just stepping up in the pocket, avoiding the sack, maintaining his eyes downfield on his target rather than just tucking and running and trying to bail out on the play. I like that entire mentality, and it shows me that he's got it. Yeah, they're a little bit off on connecting here, but that's okay. And he takes a lick delivering the ball. It gave me some Tyler Wilson memories where he would just step up and deliver the ball, and he did not fear what was coming next. So you might hear me bring up Tyler Wilson from time to time just because I think the situation reminds me of Tyler Wilson when Tyler Wilson stepped in for Ryan Mallett. We all knew that we had a quarterback that was talented that would become the starting quarterback at Arkansas. Let's just go ahead and take a look at some more plays. All right, so here we are, 4th quarter, 6 minutes left, 2nd and 18. There's a lot of yards to get here. And look, this is not a situation where you want to come off the field again and give Ole Miss second-string offense a chance to put up 70 points on you. So you're playing for respect here. You're playing for your dignity. You're playing for your fans. This is at home in Fayetteville. You don't want to let them get the ball back here. So you know you got to come up with a big chunk of yardage. Now look right here. Look at his footwork in the pocket. He's moving smoothly, taking effective drops that help him stay in rhythm with the play. Look, when it comes to his release, Malachi keeps a high release point, which combined with a controlled follow-through directs his throws right where he wants them to be. We've all heard that he has a better throwing motion than Taylen Green, but it's really this consistency to his mechanics that is so crucial, and it really just shows his commitment to the fundamentals of the game. But what else could you want from your quarterback? He's not freaking out. He's not assuming pressure, even though there had been pressure on him all game long. He steps up and delivers an NFL caliber throw, puts it where only Andrew Armstrong can get it, high points the ball, keeps a foot in bounds, and gets out of bounds. Guys, there's moments like this when I'm watching Malachi play that I say there's not a lot of guys that can make that throw. There's not a lot of quarterbacks in the SEC that can make that throw. That is a future starting quarterback to me. Now, with the NIL era, with the portal era, you get a guy like this who shows those type of moments on film. You got to wonder if he's going to start getting shopped or stolen from us. But I'm telling you right now, there's not a lot of guys that can make that throw, and the coaches know it. All right, we're going to pause real quick on the QB breakdown for a moment and toss it over to DJ. He's sitting down with Zach from Oaklawn to talk about the latest betting odds of the college football playoffs and the SEC championship. And stick around after that, because after their segment, we're going to dive back into the film and analyze a few more key plays from Malachi. Take it away, DJ.
All right, welcome in and buckle up, because it's about to get exciting in the landscape of sports. I don't care if you're into betting or not. It doesn't matter. So much to talk about, since now we have the 12-team college football playoffs announced, and we got basketball season to talk about as well. I got Zach in from Oaklawn, and Zach, bets aside, this is just an exciting time for sports, and very pumped up about it. But there's a lot of people out here who like to kind of look ahead, and I'm one of those people, and I want to try to guess how all this is going to pan out and play out. Still with so much football to be played. They already announced the top 12 teams as of now that are going to be in the college football playoff. And if you right now, our viewers, are someone who knows, I know what team is going to get in there for sure, well, you want to pay attention to this segment right now, because after we do the 12-team playoff, we're going to bring it back to SEC and try to figure out who's going to make it to the SEC championship game and be the winner. I mean, this is about to be fun, so let's buckle up and have fun. Zach, welcome in. Let's kind of go ahead and get into it. And so for all the people out there that think they know everything and they got it all figured out, this is the time to get in on it early, because this is where, if you are a sports bettor, you could probably benefit if you feel like you know exactly what you're talking about. So what's it look like when it comes to the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, so great to be with you, DJ. To your point, very exciting time of the year, arguably one of the best months in sports. October, November, you got pretty much every sport going on. You're getting close to the playoffs for football. A lot of fun going on. And to your point, I mean, now is still a good time to get in on the playoff markets. But even just a few days ago, before these announcements were done or made, once it was made, we saw quite a few odds movement. So few teams that are, very likely to make it at this stage, almost a shoe in. Ohio State and Oregon, minus 5,000. I don't think anybody's interested in betting those guys at those odds. But you dive down a little bit further, and you do find some teams that are on the edge that do offer a little more value, a little more appeal. I mean, Alabama right now at minus 134. They're kind of on the cusp according to those rankings. They do have a big matchup this weekend. They still have another couple big games. The SEC has been very eventful this year. There has not been that one team just, we keep thinking, oh, it's Texas, oh, it's Georgia, and they are great. They're good teams, but they can lose, as we've seen. So just outside that, you also have Ole Miss plus 140, LSU plus 220, Iowa State plus 240. And keep in mind, I'm giving you those teams that are on the edge. So the heavier favorites, the Texas minus 1250. I don't think you really want to know much about those. They are available, though, if you would like to bet them.
Yeah, so the thing is, the edge ones are where it gets interesting, because you said Bama and LSU. We'll find out this weekend. We'll find out Saturday who's going to be in and who is not. And even then, they still got a couple more games left to play. And as we know in the SEC, anything can happen. And so that'll be fun. But one thing that kind of almost marries up to, Zach, is the SEC outright winner. Who's going to make it to the championship game? We have a couple one-loss teams, a lot of two-loss teams, and they're all about to start playing each other. Literally anything can happen. And so this is what's so exciting about who's going to win the SEC championship. And to be honest, I really do believe it'll be some controversy who even gets into the game in the first place. And the biggest matchup that I'm kind of looking at this weekend is going to be Ole Miss and Georgia. Because if Ole Miss wins that game, that puts Georgia at 2 losses. That bumps Ole Miss to have a very impressive resume moving forward. They should win out afterwards, and then that shakes up everything. Texas, a 1-loss team, are they going to get rolling? They have a shaky one, maybe against A&M at Cal Stadium, and anything can happen in that game. And so who makes it to that game, I honestly have no idea. But for me, if I think Ole Miss And I would assume for some reason it's a long shot, even though I think they're playing their best football right now. What would it look like if I pick Ole Miss to win the SEC championship?
Yeah, they are one of the longer shots that are still available on the board. Ole Miss 17-1 right now to win the SEC. Georgia is your favorite at plus 150. Texas at plus 200. Tennessee is at plus 700. LSU is the first team at double digits. They're 11-1. A&M 12-1. Alabama, as we just mentioned, I mean, we should have a pretty good idea after this weekend. So if they win this
Yep.
game against LSU, I don't think you're going to see 16-1 on this market. I mean, they're not going to drop to the favorite or anything, but you will see them potentially flip-flop with LSU there, and vice versa. LSU, if they win that game, it's going to be more likely that they're in. So those odds are going to continue to drop. And then we go all the way down to Missouri. I guess as of right now, they're not completely eliminated from those possibilities at 500-1.
It's just it's pretty fascinating to see how all that shakes out and how drastically it'll change just after this weekend. So you, the viewer, if you feel like you are confident about it and oh, for sure Georgia's going to beat them, oh, Texas got that covered, this is where you kind of have some fun. And I'll tell you, if you've never been engaged in college football, and especially with stuff like this, you will watch every single game, and it will be very fun. I would say viewing experience. So those are some cool things going on in the college football playoffs and here in the SEC. And now, once again, here we go. Coach John Calipari, his first season as the Arkansas head basketball coach. And, the expectations, Zach. Okay, we come in for sure tournament. What is it, a Sweet 16? We got people saying bottom floor is Elite Eight. We're going to the Final Four. We got people saying we might as well win a national championship. All right. So it's all over the place. All right. So before we get into the SEC odds for Arkansas, which I believe are up, and even some odds for them winning the national championship or making it to the Final Four, what did this past game look like against Lipscomb? What did the line open it up as? What did it end as? And if you bet on Arkansas took the points, what happened?
Yeah, so that was a very fun one to open up with. And this is, again, we talked about on the podcast, we've talked about it throughout the years. So college basketball, a little different than football. You are going to have day-to-day games, most likely day-to-day lines. So you might see a line post the night before or the day of the game. You're not going to have it a week ahead of time like you do in football. So with Lipscomb yesterday, we opened it up, Arkansas minus 14.5. So if you jumped on that early number, you won. Arkansas covered because they won by 16. However, if you waited, that line was 15.5 about 3 p.m. And by about 4:30, it was at 16, which is where we closed. So if you were one of the last people that bet, you actually pushed. You were screaming, please go put the layup. Give me some extra points.
Yeah, it makes you watch to the final seconds drop off.
Yes.
All right, let's look ahead. Well, what are the odds if Arkansas wins? And that, let me slow down. All right, let's start with let's say, what does it look like to win the SEC championship?
Yeah, so to win the SEC, this is the regular season champion. Arkansas, now keep in mind, this is not the tournament. So in basketball, you have the regular season champion, you have the conference tournament champion. So this is the regular season champion. Alabama is the favorite. They are plus 225. Tennessee's at plus 300. Auburn at plus 350. Arkansas is coming in as the fourth choice in the SEC at plus 850. I've mentioned when we first posted, I think they were closer to 10-1. I do not expect these odds to last long. We do our best to give the Arkansas bettors and viewers what you would call maybe a national market line when it opens. As we take action, we do have to adjust based on the risk that we have on those markets. So as the volume keeps coming in on it, those odds will keep dropping. And you will see that more reflective when we get to the national championship odds.
Okay, help me out. So if I pick them to win the outright regular season title or whatever you just said, if I put $10 on it today, if they end up winning, what could I put in my pocket?
Yeah, so you're going to get 95 back in your pocket. 85 of that is profit.
Nice.
So
all right.
Yeah, so it's like an 8.5-1 is what you're getting on that.
Okay. All right. I don't want to do national championship. I'm not trying to put that juju in the air. We'll wait and see what happens. Odds of making it to the Final Four.
Yeah, Final Four. So that is on the board as well. As you said, national championships there. we'll let them get a little bit further. It was a lot of fun watching that first game. I'm trying to pump
Yeah,
my brakes the most I can. I don't know why.
I get it.
I'm very excited about this season. I really think from what I've seen, we've got all the right tools in place. But Final Four
Yeah.
market, Arkansas still not bad odds, plus 480. So that's to make
Okay.
those Final Four. Just to give you reference, the favorites are UConn and Duke at plus 200.
Okay. So plus 480. Help me with my math again. If I got $10 and I say they're going to make it to the Final Four, what am I looking at?
So that's going to return you $58. And the way to remember that is anytime you see that plus, that's telling you how much you would profit if you bet $100. So if you want to say $10, you just divide by 10 or drop that zero off. However you want to do it. Everybody has their own way to do their math, but that's what the plus means, is how much you would profit if you bet 100. If you ever see the minus, that's how much you have to bet to profit 100.
That I just learned something new right now as soon as you said that. And now that you said it, I just now said I'm an idiot how I didn't catch that beforehand. Zach, it's been fun. I appreciate your time. And like I said, an exciting time in sports. It was fun, man. So I guess we got the bye week. We'll check in with you next week.
Absolutely. You have a great time. And for those new users, don't forget up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Go ahead, sign up now. All you have to do is deposit. You're automatically enrolled in that offer. All the details at oaklawnsports.com.
Awesome. You're the man, Zach. Appreciate you.
All right, let's take another look at a third down play with Malachi, because I think he's just got good understanding of what he needs to do in these situations, how quickly he needs to get rid of the ball. Ole Miss has got 4 down linemen. Now, this defensive end here at the bottom of the screen, he's actually going to drop back into coverage, and he's going to spy the running back. They're going to send a little bit of a hot blitz off the other edge, and Malachi's got to know this in these situations, because 3rd down and 6, backup quarterback, Ole Miss is thinking, hey, let's go get him and make him make a mistake. Malachi's ready. He gets rid of the ball fast. He sees his number 1 receiver and Andrew Armstrong come into this window. And if you'll see here, the defensive end that dropped back and is shadowing that running back, he's got his back turned. Malachi sees that from the jump. Guys, you'd be surprised how often young quarterbacks hold on to the ball far too long in the pocket, just because they don't know exactly where they're supposed to go with it. Oftentimes they don't have a good understanding pre-snap of the situation, what they need to do, and Malachi's really impressed me with that. So let's take another look at a few other plays here. All right, the next play that I'm going to show you is from the end of the Ole Miss game, and let me preface it with the fact that I do know the backup defense is in for Ole Miss. However, this is much more about his arm talent and touch than anything else. Let's take a look at this. All right, here we are, fourth quarter, end of the fourth quarter. Like I said, 2nd and 17. You want to pick up a good chunk of yards here, but Malachi's looking at the field here. He notices the 2 high safeties. Immediately, it's almost a dead giveaway. All right, look. Here we are, cover 2. What's going to be open? Middle of the field. We beat this like a dead horse all the time. It's almost like, why do they even run this? You've got to be able to have fast guys that can go get the ball, and you got to have a quarterback that can put it in the right spot if you're really trying to split those safeties. It's dangerous still, especially with athletes out there, but a better opportunity for them with this second-string defense from Ole Miss. Really here, I just want to focus on Malachi's touch, and he just puts the perfect amount of touch on this ball, enough height on it to get over these linebackers, and enough touch on it just to drop it into the only area that these safeties can't get to it. You can't really throw a better ball than that, and to have a backup quarterback that can do that is exceptional. And I keep saying this, Malachi's not your typical backup quarterback, and I want to get that point across with this film breakdown, because what we have here is a guy who can play football. So let's take a look at one more play, and I just want to take us back to, I think, the best throw that I think he's made all season long. It comes from the first game of the season. I think there was a lot of people that were talking about Malachi after this game when we saw him. When we put up 70 points as an offense, but Singleton did come in at the end of the game, and he throws this ball to Tesla. Again, a ball that there's not very many quarterbacks can throw, and a great catch, one-handed catch by Tesla. Down the middle, quick release, almost the same play. Tesla and Luke has run similar route across the middle, split safeties, and Malachi puts it right where it needs to be, where nobody else can get to it but his guy. 3rd and 7, crucial situation. It's clear that he's developing the confidence and the instincts needed to handle these high-pressure moments, which is huge for him in his development and growth as a leader on this team. All right, that wraps up our QB breakdown this week on 4th and 5. And look, after reviewing the film, I think it's clear that both Taylen and Malachi bring valuable strengths to this team. Taylen's explosive playmaking, his running ability, he even has the flashes with his arm as well. You just can't coach what Taylen Green can do for your team. And as far as the defenses go, they can't really plan for what he can do to them. So he gives us the best chance to win games. He's got big play potential, and it just keeps the defenses on their heels at all times. But I don't want to overlook Malachi. He's got all the qualities that you want in a future starter. He's got poise in the pocket. He's got a quick release. He's got solid pocket presence that makes him an exciting talent, and having him as a backup is something that we should feel extremely fortunate about. Malachi's got a bright future ahead, but Taylen's experience and his X factor, should I say, it gives us the edge that we need in this immediate season, especially with an offensive line that's been struggling. So there you go. That's my take. You're watching 4th and 5. Thanks for tuning in, and a big shout out and thank you to our sponsors, Ortho Arkansas and Oaklawn Casino. Let us know your thoughts on this. I want to know what you think about the quarterback situation. There's a lot of people that were asking about Malachi. Some people even insinuating that he should start. I don't think so, but I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Look, we'll be back with more next week, more film, more analysis, more insights. Until then, this is 4th and 5, signing off.